We all know the purpose of study, right? It's not just about regurgitating information that's already clear or obvious. The goal of studying is about exploring the unknown, diving into the complexities, and seeking out answers that aren't immediately apparent. It's about bringing new insights, expanding our understanding, and creating clarity where there's confusion. Growth, especially when it comes to knowledge, is like solving a puzzle. You start with a piece here and there, and over time, as you piece everything together, the bigger picture becomes clearer. We slowly learn to navigate the mystery of the world, becoming sharper in our ability to contemplate, analyze, and understand what was once unknown. We don't just gather facts, we refine our thinking to better approach the things we don't know yet. When we study something like the planetary theology of ancient peoples, we're not just gathering concrete answers. We don't have all the information we need, and that's okay. There are gaps in our understanding, and we may never fill every gap. But by looking at what's available, we can start to make reasonable guesses about what the ancient peoples understood and how they saw the world. We might not know everything, but with the evidence at hand, we can piece things together and uncover patterns that weren't obvious before. Here's the thing. Ancient humans didn't think like we do today. They didn't have the same processes of logic and reasoning that we use to form conclusions. A lot of their knowledge wasn't based on science or reason, but rather intuitive understanding. So, when we try to understand ancient perspectives, there's a challenge right there. We're trying to look through a lens that's not the same as our own. On top of that, there's a massive gap in time between us and them. The records that could have clarified things have often been lost to time or destroyed, and we don't always understand their languages the way we would like. With all of this uncertainty, we have to tread carefully, acknowledging the limitations of our knowledge. But even with all these challenges, we still have enough evidence to make reasonable inferences about certain aspects of their beliefs. By looking at the symbols they used, we can start to piece together the underlying principles they may have been working with. We shouldn't assume that they had all the answers, but there's no denying that they had a deep, intuitive understanding of the world, one that's often lost to us today. Ancient thinkers had something we don't, an inner awareness, a kind of illumination that guided their thinking. Sure, their external knowledge may seem limited compared to ours, but they were able to internalize their understanding of the world in a way that we struggle to do today. And that's a big part of why their systems of thought were so different from ours. Take the number 7, for example. Why was it so significant in ancient times? You'll see this number pop up again and again, from ancient Egypt to Greece to Persia to China. It shows up in astronomy, religion, and symbolism across a wide range of cultures. 7 was always tied to a group of 7 deities, each of which was associated with one of the 7 wandering celestial bodies, the planets. Now, we know these 7 bodies today, the 5 classical planets and the sun and the moon. These celestial bodies were incredibly significant to ancient cultures, and they were linked to 7 key deities in almost every ancient system we look at. You had 7 gods in the Egyptian tradition, the Greek gods, the Babylonian pantheon. The list goes on. Even the Chinese had a set of 7 deities associated with the stars and planets. The key thing to understand here is that even though different cultures had different names for these deities, the symbols, powers, and roles they represented were strikingly similar. That's a pretty big deal, because it suggests a common thread across these cultures, something they all understood intuitively, even if they didn't all have the same scientific tools or knowledge we have today. We also know that the number 7 is tied to certain practices and beliefs that were, in some cases, hidden or reserved for only a select few. For example, in the ancient Chinese tradition, there were 7 primary gods, but only 5 were commonly acknowledged. The other 2, it seems, represented hidden or secret deities, gods that weren't as easily understood or accessible to everyone. This idea of secrecy is also present in other traditions. In Buddhism, for example, there were 7 great eternal powers, though only 5 were ever fully represented. This selective representation is a fascinating aspect of these ancient teachings. It suggests that not all knowledge was available to all people, and some of the deepest truths were kept hidden, perhaps for reasons of spiritual or intellectual purity. The same thing happens in other ancient systems. Take the Hebrew Kabbalah, for instance. There are references to 7 books that Moses supposedly wrote, but only 5 of them are publicly acknowledged. The other 2, often referred to as the lost books, are shrouded in mystery. This secret knowledge is a recurring theme in many ancient belief systems. And then, of course, there's the connection between the 7 planets and the human body. The ancient teachings often link the planets to various parts of the human experience, including the soul and the physical body. Some teachings even suggest that there are 7 parts to the human soul, which ties back to the idea of a 7-fold structure of existence. Interestingly, this concept of 7-foldness is also mirrored in many different systems. For instance, in the ancient Greek understanding, there were 7 musical modes, 7 strings on a lyre, and 7 basic forms of music. It's as if the number 7 was this key to unlocking the deeper workings of the universe, a cosmic code that could be found in everything, from the stars above to the strings of a musical instrument. The idea of 7 as a powerful, almost sacred number isn't just confined to the celestial realm. It also shows up in the structure of various ancient arts and sciences. In many ways, these ancient people saw 7 as a universal number, something that could explain everything, from the movement of the planets to the patterns of music and art. Now, there's one more thing that's interesting to think about. When we look at the development of human knowledge, it seems like there's this ongoing struggle between the 5 senses and the hidden, unseen knowledge represented by the 7th power. This tension between the visible and invisible is a key theme in many of these ancient traditions. It's almost as if the 5th sense, the one we use to navigate the physical world, is somehow incomplete without access to the deeper, hidden senses. And that brings us to the idea of extrasensory perception, ESP. Even today, people still study ESP and claim that humans have more than just the 5 senses we're familiar with. Some believe that there are additional hidden senses that could help us tap into deeper levels of consciousness, just like the ancient people did. It's as if we're all living in this world that's been built on 7-fold patterns that our modern minds can't always comprehend, but that still have a profound impact on us. To explore these deeper, hidden elements, we can look at how certain traditions, like the Kabbalah or the ancient Egyptian mysteries, teach us about the 7-fold structure of the universe. In these systems, the number 7 is seen not just as a numerical concept, but as something that permeates every layer of existence. It's a cosmic map, guiding everything from the physical world to spiritual dimensions. Take the ancient Egyptians, for example. They had a belief that the world was created through a cosmic act involving 7 gods. These gods weren't just deities in the traditional sense. They were the forces of creation itself, shaping the cosmos and everything within it. The Egyptians also used the concept of 7 to structure their religious practices. For them, 7 was the number of perfection, completeness, and divine order. In their mythology, the god Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom and writing, was said to have written the laws of the universe, which were linked to the 7 planets and their celestial movements. Thoth was a master of symbols and numbers, and the number 7 had a special significance in his teachings. He's often depicted as holding the key to understanding the mysteries of life, and it's through the use of symbols and numbers that we gain access to these deeper truths. Similarly, we find this same emphasis on the number 7 in the ancient mysteries of the Greeks. The famous philosopher Pythagoras believed that numbers were the key to understanding the universe, and he saw 7 as the most sacred of all numbers. For Pythagoras, 7 represented harmony, balance, and the alignment of the physical and spiritual worlds. Interestingly, Pythagoras was also the one who introduced the idea of numerology, the belief that numbers have mystical properties that can influence the world around us. He saw the 7-fold structure as a way to connect the individual to the cosmos, creating a harmony between the human soul and the universe. The ancient Greeks saw 7 as a symbol of perfection, much like the Egyptians, and it permeated their culture in ways that were both philosophical and practical. The connection between the number 7 and the planets is where things get particularly interesting. The 7 planets, known in ancient times as the wandering stars, were viewed as powerful celestial beings. Each of these planets was associated with a deity, and each planet governed different aspects of human life. The ancient peoples believed that the planets had a direct influence on their lives, and they used astrology and planetary worship to align themselves with the cosmic order. The Egyptians, for example, linked the planet Venus to the goddess Hathor, who represented love, beauty, and fertility. Mars, with its fiery red glow, was associated with the god Horus, symbolizing strength and war. The moon was connected to Isis, the great mother goddess who governed the cycles of life and death. Each of these planets was seen as a cosmic force that influenced the lives of individuals. And aligning with these forces was thought to bring balance and harmony. Even today, the influence of the number 7 can be seen in our modern lives, particularly when it comes to astrology. We still associate the 7 traditional planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the Sun, and the Moon, with different aspects of our personalities and our fate. The number 7 continues to hold a special place in the collective consciousness, whether we recognize it consciously or not. But this connection between the planets and the divine goes deeper than just astrology. The ancient systems saw these planets as symbolic representations of different aspects of consciousness. The 7 planets weren't just physical bodies in the sky. They were representations of the spiritual and psychological forces that shape our lives. Each planet symbolized a different aspect of human experience, from love and beauty to wisdom and strength. For example, Mercury, the planet closest to the Sun, was associated with communication, intellect, and the mind. Venus, the planet of love and beauty, represented harmony and relationships. Mars, the god of war, symbolized courage and action. Jupiter represented expansion, growth, and wisdom, while Saturn was seen as the planet of discipline, structure, and limitation. Each of these planets embodied a particular aspect of human nature, and understanding their influence was believed to help individuals better navigate the challenges of life. It's fascinating to consider how these ancient systems were able to create such detailed symbolic associations between the planets and the human experience. It's as if they had a deep, intuitive understanding of how the cosmos mirrors our inner worlds. And while modern science has provided us with a more concrete understanding of the planets, there's something deeply meaningful in the way these ancient cultures used symbolism to interpret the universe. Now, let's take a moment to think about how these ideas of the 7 planets and their associated deities connect to the human body. We've already touched on the concept of the soul being divided into 7 parts, and this idea isn't just symbolic, it also has a physical dimension. The ancient systems often correlated each planet with a specific part of the body, linking the cosmic to the physical in a profound way. The heart, for example, was often associated with the sun. In ancient Egypt, the heart was seen as the seat of the soul, the center of one's being. The sun, as the source of light and life, symbolized the divine spark that resided in the human heart. Similarly, the moon was connected to the mind, representing the emotional and intuitive aspects of human consciousness. Each planet was thought to influence a different part of the human experience, from the physical body to the spiritual essence. This connection between the planets and the body isn't just a theoretical concept. It has practical implications. In astrology, the position of the planets at the time of your birth is believed to shape your personality, your health, and your destiny. The ancient systems understood that the movements of the planets could influence everything from your emotional well-being to your physical health, and they used this knowledge to guide their lives. And this idea of the planets influencing the human body goes beyond just the physical realm. In the Kabbalah, for instance, the 7 planets are often associated with different aspects of spiritual development. The planetary forces are thought to influence the chakras or energy centers within the body, and by understanding these influences, individuals can achieve a higher level of spiritual awareness. This connection between the cosmic and the human body is one of the most powerful aspects of the ancient systems. The belief that the universe is reflected in the individual is a theme that runs through many traditions, from the ancient Egyptians to modern-day astrology. The human body isn't just a physical vessel, it's a microcosm of the cosmos, a reflection of the larger universe. As we move through life, the planetary influences continue to shape our experiences. Whether we're aware of it or not, the movements of the planets affect our moods, our relationships, and even our health. The ancient systems understood this connection, and they used it as a guide to navigate the complexities of life. And while we may not have all the answers, the patterns they observed still resonate with us today. The idea of the 7 planets and their influence on the human body serves as a reminder that we are not isolated beings. We are part of something much larger, a cosmic system that influences every aspect of our lives. By understanding the connections between the planets, the human body, and the universe, we can begin to align ourselves with the greater forces that shape our existence. So, what does all this mean for us today? In many ways, the ancient systems are trying to show us that the cosmos and the human being are not separate entities, but are deeply connected. The ancient belief that the planets influence the human soul and body isn't just some distant relic of the past, it's a perspective that still holds value today, even if we don't fully understand all of it. Take, for example, the concept of the 7 chakras in Hinduism and Buddhism. These energy centers correspond to different aspects of human consciousness, and each one is associated with a different planet. The heart chakra, for instance, is connected to the sun, representing love and vitality. The root chakra is linked to Saturn, symbolizing discipline and foundation. Each chakra, or energy center, aligns with a cosmic principle, mirroring the planetary influence in the human body. It's not just about astrology or spiritual practices, though. This idea of sevenfold structure also connects with our modern understanding of the human body. For instance, as we've discussed, there are 7 major glands in the human endocrine system, including the pituitary and pineal glands. These are the glands that regulate many of our physical and mental functions, including our growth, mood, and metabolism. Some believe that these glands correspond to the planets, linking the cosmic and the physiological in a deeply meaningful way. In fact, modern science continues to explore how the alignment of planets might affect us. While there's no definitive proof, studies on astrology and planetary alignment have suggested that the movements of the planets can influence our emotions, behavior, and even our health. The idea that the 7 planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the Moon, and the Sun, have a profound impact on us may sound esoteric, but it continues to intrigue researchers and spiritual practitioners alike. Even if we don't fully understand why the number 7 is so significant, there's no denying the way it shows up again and again in ancient knowledge. Whether it's the 7 days of the week, the 7 classical planets, or the 7 sacraments in Christianity, this number seems to have a universal quality, one that transcends time and culture. The fact that so many ancient civilizations independently arrived at similar conclusions about the importance of 7 suggests that there's something deeply symbolic and meaningful about it. Now, let's consider the connection between 7 and the development of religious and philosophical systems. In many ancient cultures, the number 7 wasn't just a practical tool, it was a spiritual concept that helped organize their understanding of the world. The 7 heavens of ancient Babylon, the 7 sages of Greece, the 7 wonders of the world. All of these are more than just symbolic representations of the number itself. They represent a deeper understanding of the world, one that sees the universe as a structured system with a divine order. We see the same pattern in the structure of the Christian religion. The 7 sacraments are central to the spiritual journey, and they represent the 7 stages of human life, from birth to death, and the experiences we undergo in between. The 7 virtues and 7 deadly sins provide a moral framework that guides us in our daily lives. The 7 churches mentioned in the book of Revelation symbolize the stages of spiritual awakening and growth. The same sevenfold structure is present in many other religious and spiritual systems. In Hinduism, there are 7 sacred rivers, 7 holy mountains, and 7 sages. In Islam, the number 7 is also deeply significant, appearing in practices like the 7 rounds around the Kaaba during the Hajj pilgrimage. Even in the mystical traditions, like the Kabbalah, the number 7 is a powerful symbol, representing the divine energy that flows through creation. It's not just about religious practices either. The number 7 also shows up in many philosophical and ethical systems. For instance, in ancient Greek philosophy, there were 7 wise men who were revered for their wisdom and insight into the nature of reality. Their teachings focused on the importance of balance, virtue, and understanding the deeper truths of existence. The idea of 7 as a guiding number was embedded in their thinking, influencing everything from their moral teachings to their views on the cosmos. So, what does all of this mean for us today? Well, It's clear that the number 7 still has a profound influence on how we view the world. Whether we're aware of it or not, the ancient wisdom that associates 7 with perfection, balance, and divine order continues to shape our lives. From the days of the week to the cycles of the moon, we are still connected to the cosmic patterns that these ancient systems recognized. In modern life, we often find ourselves grappling with the complexities of the world, trying to make sense of our place in it. But the ancient teachings remind us that the answers we seek are often already embedded within us. By reconnecting with these deeper, symbolic truths, by understanding the sevenfold structure of the universe, we can begin to unlock the mysteries of our own lives. And this doesn't mean we have to abandon science or modern knowledge. Far from it. Instead, it's about integrating the ancient wisdom with what we know today, allowing us to approach life from a more holistic perspective. The ancient teachings weren't just about blindly following rituals or traditions. They were about understanding the underlying principles that govern the universe and applying them to our own lives. Take, for example, the study of astrology. While modern science may not fully embrace astrology, many still find value in it as a tool for understanding human nature and the forces that influence us. By studying the positions of the planets, we can gain insights into our personalities, our relationships, and our life's purpose. In this way, astrology serves as a bridge between the ancient and modern worlds, helping us reconnect with the cosmic patterns that shape our lives. Similarly, the practice of meditation and spiritual reflection can help us tap into the deeper levels of consciousness that the ancients knew about. The sevenfold structure of the soul and the planets can be a roadmap for personal growth, helping us to align our inner and outer worlds. By understanding the connections between the body, mind, and cosmos, we can begin to unlock our full potential and find harmony in our lives. In the end, the study of the 7 planets and their influence on the human soul is more than just an intellectual exercise. It's an invitation to reconnect with the ancient wisdom that has been passed down through the ages. It's a reminder that the universe is not something outside of us. It's something that resides within us, waiting to be discovered. And by embracing this deeper understanding, we can begin to live more fully. Aligned with the cosmic order that has always been there, guiding us toward greater wisdom, peace, and harmony.